Hello, my stamping friends. Welcome to my regular Thursday night Facebook Live to share a card with you. If you haven't joined me before, I'd like to welcome you. I am Marilyn Wagner, Stamping Creations with Marilyn, coming to you from Spruce Grove, Alberta, Canada. And we have a lot of fun just hanging out together, creating things, sharing ideas, and I want to share a lot of things with you. So if you've joined me before, welcome back. Please let us know where you're watching from, as that's always interesting. And it's nice to know what you've been up to. Today has been an awesome day here in Spruce Grove. Sun shining, beautiful weather. I think it was about 24 Celsius, that is. And I was able to be out a couple times, so it was beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. So a few reminders as I go through things here. I'm just going to show you a few things. I have a June host code, which I really appreciate you using if you do not have a demonstrator already and you would like to order products. If your order's under $200, I appreciate you using that code. Some classes I'm holding. Second Thursday of the month, I have a Christmas card class. And yes, it's Christmas cards. We had it today. There was 5 of us on there, and we just had a ball, just chatting and creating together. So if you'd ever like to join that, let me know. Also, on once a month, I have a monthly card class on the 3rd Wednesday, so that's coming up next week. I do ask registrations to be in a week before, so I have time to get kits ready. And so let me know on that. And I also host a Zoom with Friends class on Friday at 1 o'clock. Now this one has turned into something way more spectacular than I ever expected. We started it when COVID shut us down from in-person activities, and it has grown to, I believe today's email that I sent out was 36 people. We never have 36 of us on there at once. It's all on Zoom. I send out the email Thursday morning to give you a list of supplies. And then on Friday at 1 o'clock, we all meet and we create with our own supplies, and various people in the group volunteer to teach. And I love it. It just, like I say, it has turned out to be a fantastic gathering of people all across Canada, some from the US, and everybody can be there because it's using your own things. So we have a lot of fun. So if you ever want to join that, be sure and let me know. I'd love to add you to the list. I do not put that out to the general public on Facebook, but you're more than welcome to join with us and take part in whatever we're doing. So I see some comments. I'm not even going to look at my iPad to see if I'm in the right place. Some of you have found me, so that's good. So before I turn you down to my desk and show you a couple other things that are happening, my question for you today, which always is nice to hear what you guys think, is, like I say, it was a spring-like day here in Spruce Grove today. Makes me think of picnics, of just being outdoors. So what is your favorite, or tell me what Stampin' Up color means picnic and summer to you, just, and why, how that all how it makes sense to you, what Stampin' Up color brings on summer to you. So let me go to my desktop, and you can see I have something new in the house. Isn't that exciting? I'm so excited. As demonstrators, we are allowed to, or we get the catalog, the new July to December mini catalog and the Sale-A-Bration catalog. We get it early. So it arrived in the mail about a week ago. I have placed a couple orders. Yes, more than one. And they will be coming, supplies will be coming shortly. I will be able to demonstrate what I get. I cannot show you the inside of these until it's going live, which is the 1st of July. But there's lots of awesome things in there. So this just gives you kind of a preview of what is to come. So if you have one, I know a number of you on here are demonstrators. If you have something, just pop in the comments what it is that you were excited to see in there, and we will follow up on some of those things, I'm sure, next time. A couple other housekeeping thing I would like to mention. Last week I know we had a bit of a echo on the sound. Anything like that, if you have any questions, concerns as I'm going, please let me know, and I will try and watch some of the comments for that. And I really appreciate when you do that because it's helping me do a better production for you. They keep calling this a production company, so I'm not into the filmmaking or anything, but I do like doing this and sharing with you. So tonight you can see my catalog. This is the catalog that is current. And I have both these sets, but this one, the Flowing Flowers on page 36, I was disappointed to see it did not carry forward. So therefore, I'm trying to use it more and more. So today I'm going to use some from it, but I also have this set and I haven't used it much, so I'm going to use some from it. So tell me also in the comments, is there anything that you have seen that's retired that you're disappointed and you haven't used enough yet? So I'm going to start with, actually what I'm going to show you tonight, and you might have read it on the introduction to this, is I'm going to work with the soft pastels. And that's what caused me to think of the question being colors. So these are in the current catalog, the annual catalog. And I know this one's retired, but they are in here, and I'll just show you. This is what you're looking for. Soft pastels, $12.25, and you get 8 colors. And I have labeled mine. Not that they're sticking very well on the spongy back here, but I have labeled them. So you can see the colors there that you get in that package. And once you start working with them, you realize that those colors are going to last you for a long, long time. So I'm going to show you 5 or 6 different ways to use them tonight, with the first one being something that's called Poppin Pastels. Now, if you've been around Stampin' Up card making for quite a while, you know this technique, but it's, you stamp with Versamark, and I'll try not to rock the table too bad, and then put your color on, and the colors just pop, which is why it's called Poppin Pastels. This is out of that Flowing Flowers set, and I'm just using it on regular white cardstock, which is what I did with this one. I'm going to use a little bit different colors here tonight. I was trying it out there the other night. Disappointed New Horizon didn't continue, Catherine. Yes, I was disappointed in that one as well. That's all of that suite was just amazing products, I would have thought. But, you know, we've learned that Stampin' Up already is working on the 2024 catalog. So they predict long before we ever get to seeing the catalogs as to what might be carrying forward. I'm going to pull out 2 new sponge daubers that I have. These are the ones I used for these colors, but they do have some residue on them, and someday I will get them and label them all according to the Stampin' Up colors. So I'm going to, now this is really going to be a tricky because I can barely see it, but there is a design on there. So I'm going to take your pick tool and turn this end around so I have got more of a scraping tool, and I'm going to use Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to scrape some of the color onto my block, and then I'm going to use, let's use Coastal Cabana. No, it's not really a leaf color. I guess we'll go back to Mossy Meadow. But you can see there is a bit of a a residue kind of thing that's on there, but this is our start. And then I'm going to, like I say, I have a number of things I want to show you with this. So to color with the daubers, and again, I'll try and see if I can see where these are going to go. But because the Versamark is on there, it's going to resist, and your color just pops. So that would be my Mossy Meadow, and then my Daffodil Delight. I can put on here. Then we do something that is totally technical. We just blow this off, so bear with me. And I'm hoping you can see, if I tip it the right way, and my camera quits focusing, you can see the design there. So I've watched a couple videos recently on doing these because I had forgotten. And one of them said to take a white eraser, which I happen to have in here, and you can clean up this kind of thing if it's bothering you. Now, personally, if I'm doing something like this, I'm going to work with a design that it really doesn't matter if it's over the edges, but it does work. The white eraser does work on any of the colors, and you can get a more defined edge for it. I've also read some people like to set the pastels once they've colored with them with hairspray. I do not have hairspray that I can try that with, and I know I've made cards and sent them out and never heard anybody say, well, all the ink came off it, so I'm going to assume it's okay. So that's technique number one. Another one that you can do with the same idea, so I'm going to take my Versamark again and do another one. And then if you want to be just a little more exact, you could use Q-tips to do your coloring. I do have some Q-tips here, and actually, if I bend right, I can see the color, or see where the Versamark is, and just not get so much what I would call overspray. So you get a little bit more exact coverage. And these dots over here can be green. And you can go back over it if you want darker color again. And then I'm going to use my daffodil again, and can't see my edges on this one, but I'm sure you've got the idea of. So tell us in the comments if you've ever worked with the pastels, if you have them, if you saw them and were afraid to try them, and what your concerns were with them. I think for the bang for your buck, you certainly get a lot of color possibilities with these for very little dollars. We'll just do it again. And there you can see just a little bit of difference with using a Q-tip as opposed to the sponge daubers. The other thing I discovered in my drawer full of goodies, I have these, and I suspect they came in a kit from Stampin' Up at one time, but look at how tiny those foam things are, or all their cotton things on the end of there. So you could really get into doing some fine things if you wanted to with those. Then I went to another thing I saw someone had done, was with an embossing folder. So I have the Fern Embossing folder. Kathleen, you still have some pastels. Yes, there were other ones before, weren't there, Catherine? So you could certainly use them. So I embossed with the fern, and then I took, this one was the Mossy Meadow. I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green on this one. And basically, you can see I was coloring there with it. You just color over the raised area. And it gives you that little bit of color that makes everything pop again. Quick, that was definitely a quick coloring thing. And it doesn't take much. Like I say, these are going to last for a long, long time. I have a paper towel, and I would clean that. But again, another easy way of coloring your designs. Next, I have, what other one was I going to do? I have this one that I started last night, and I'll just show you as soon as I find my protector. You can watercolor with them. So I took my water painter, and I hadn't used it for quite a while, so I couldn't figure out how. Well, there is water coming out of it now there. But I did watch a video, and she was actually, these tighten backwards compared to what we normally do. And she loosened it, which maybe there's an airlock or something in it, and the water seemed to run a lot better. So what I did there was, again, just took my, squeezed some water. Are we still in the camera? Sorry. Whoops, just dumped the yellow off of there. Squeeze some water in here and mix your pastel with it, and you have got color that you can paint with. And that certainly gives you, if you want only to cover certain areas. I did stamp this image with Sahara sand. Couldn't remember. And again, this is what I did last night, and it's dry. I could go over it if I wanted to with other colors, but it works just like a paint if you do this. Then to clean it, all you would do is run your water till it's clean. And then, that was Daffodil Delight. We'll add some more. Whoops. It is a little messy sometimes, but I'm going to use it again. So then I want a little bit of water in there, and going to go and add my color. So I think these pastels, now I don't know, I did have the other ones that you're talking about on there. They were little squares. I do not have them any longer. I think I gave them to some kindergarten class or something, but I don't know if they were the same product. They definitely weren't the same colors, because these colors are current colors. But you can see how you can add dark, light, you can shade, whatever. The other thing that's important to know is that this is on shimmer paper. Shimmer paper tends to work better for, sorry, I'm reading a comment. Thanks, Karen. Yes, Sahara sand works well. I was a little leery with using just a classic ink for that instead of using our Memento like we are supposed to do for watercoloring, but it seemed to work. So I did that one. Then I went and, okay, I'll leave that one. I'm going to clean this out again. I thought, okay, I'm going to make a card, because, of course, at the end of each night, somebody has to win a card. So if I don't make a card, how are you going to win it? So I took that same image again, stamped it and die cut it. And I want to use, what did I use? I used the Q-tip. Only, you know what? I'm going to wipe this clean. And I'm going to use the Mango Melody because it seems to show up a little better. And the Granny Apple Green. So I've got those there if I want to use them with the blender pen, which is another coloring tool we have. But the other thing, the reason this is all worn down is I took this and just colored with it like this. So you could do that too. If you didn't have the other tools, you could certainly apply your color. And it doesn't take long. And it is like coloring with chalk. If you remember in school, we used to have, I think we only had a pink chalk and our regular white. We didn't have many colors, but same idea. That's what it feels like, is like you're coloring with chalk. So then I'm going to take my Mango Melody and add color to the flowers. Just because it's a little bit darker, and should have had some of it done so you didn't have to watch me color. But I want you to see the great results that happen when you use the blender pen. Then blender pens come in a pack of 3, and they have a I think it's almost like a glycerin in them. It's some kind of liquid in them. You don't fill them like your water painters. And then that can be used for blending. So they come like this. They have double ends, and the ends are the same size. So when you go to use them, I don't know if you can, maybe I'll do this with it. You can move the color around and get it, like I'm doing, is to get it closer to the edges. Make it a more exact coloring. And it's blending it as it goes. You can see here that I wasn't right at the edges because it's kind of hard with that square to color. But it is moving the color around. It's making sure that it's all over the image. And just a few more, a little bit more in here, and I can just take that color with me. And then, so I'm not contaminating the colors, I am going to find my Karen, your blender pens are a few years old and they still work. Yes, these I haven't used for quite a while, and I was quite tickled that they still did the trick. So then I switched the end, and I'm going to do the green with the other end again, just to try and keep it so it's not making, what is it, green and yellow are going to make blue, something like that. So you can blend them. So then when I got done doing this, I thought, okay, what else do we have that works as a liquid in a pen? And any ideas? Can you guess what I came up with next? I'm going to show you, even without spending a lot of time looking at your comments. Very bright color, Catherine says. Yes, yes. Marie says working with her blender pens. Blender pens would work. This just gives it, I think, a softer color. But what I came up with to use next was, lost the lid off that. Oh, there it is. Was my Wink of Stella. That's liquid. And I thought, okay, that should be able to add something and move it around as well. And again, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but in the way the light's shining for me, I can. So you could do your blending with the Wink of Stella. Yes, it's going to leave a little bit on your brush, but like most of our things, once you do this kind of thing with it, it comes clear. So that's another tool that you could use for that. So many ideas. So then I took this, and I'm going to move that because it's got powder on it. This has powder, and you know, I don't think there's a way to save it. If any of you are thinking, oh, I should save that. Not going to. Whoops. I'm trying not to get it on the carpet on the floor. I decided I was going to make a card. So my card base, I pulled out the Mango Melody, which is that, and I didn't think it matched my finished daffodils. So I'm using Daffodil Delight. I have a white base that I want to put on here, and I'm going to stamp a greeting. And I laid that on, and I thought, ooh, it needs something. So I carried on. And this is honestly how I do designing things. If any of you have ever been here and watched me, you know that. It needed something on the background, so I'm going to take my blender pen, another coloring tool that we have, and just flick some color onto the background. No rhyme, no reason. I was going to say, and you probably can't even see it because I can't, but there's some. Okay, so it's just giving it a subtle background. And if you're doing that, be sure and turn your blender pen around so you're not always beaten on the one end. Then I'm going to take my Sahara Sand again and do my stamping. And out of that Flowing Flowers set, I love this one because don't we all do a lot of texting? Sending a card instead of a text. Look at that, I didn't even rock it. That's pretty good. So that's basically all there is to it. I'm going to put that on my base. And then I am going to put my completed flower on. So to do that, Linda, whenever you flick color, it ends up everywhere. Well, I think it probably did, but as long as I can keep it from going on the floor, I think I've won. So I'm going to, this card opens this way. Have you ever, thinking of that, have you ever put a card together and then had it backwards? Tell us about it. That's when you start looking for your bottle of undo or some way to save it, because even though we've got lots of paper, it's nice to be able to save what we think we've done wrong, right? So I'm going to use a couple of small dimensionals down here towards the bottom, maybe a couple over in this area, and then I have a couple large ones left on this, and I'm going to cut or tear a few other pieces. I have a pair of scissors only for cutting like this. I don't use them for cutting my paper or anything. They're what I call my kindergarten scissors. So my goodness, those are really different dimensionals there. Yeah, like that one took the backing off and it didn't leave the sticky there. We'll try that and see if it works. So plans for the weekend? Anybody going to be card making, camping? What are you going to be doing on the weekend? I just watched the weather here with hubby before I came downstairs, and in our area, we have a 40% chance of rain, so I don't know much that we will be doing outdoor. Well, 40% isn't too big a deal. So there is my card. And don't leave. I do have some other show and tell cards as always. And I'm going to grab one of these opal rounds because it would be nice to have some sparkle. And whoops, could certainly add a few to those. Well, you know our rule of 3. We're supposed to have 3, so I'll put one down there. How's that? So I think that's all the techniques I wanted to show you with the pastels, but I do believe they are a way to extend your card making so that you can you have more choices, right, to do things like that. So what do you think? Thanks, Catherine. Peggy, glad you like it. I will, on my sample, so I don't get mixed up, I'm going to add a couple of those as well. Then I do want to share a couple things. We still have a Stampin' Up! Buy one, get one half price kit special. And I am going to host a kit Zoom party for whoever wants to join, free of charge. Just let me know and I'll send you the Zoom link. And we'll do that on the last Wednesday of June, the 29th. So if you're buying a kit, I knew I had a piece left over. Look at that. Got to put that inside. Let me know for the kit. The other thing that's happening with Stampin' Up! Right now is the retired sale out of this catalog. I think that one's had it. And I didn't look today, but I know that some items are already sold out. So if there's anything that you had on your wish list from the current mini, please make sure you go in and check it out so that you're not disappointed and you can get them. Okay, so, oh, thanks, Karen. Let's go on to my show and tell. I'm going to leave those just there. Here's one that's done with the tea paper. So because it's a 6-inch paper, you can easily get it 5.5 inches to cross your card like that, and a couple of little lemons that I understand. I don't have the set, but I understand that there is a die to cut them out, and it is much easier just to cut them out that way with scissors. This set I have ordered, and I love how you can't hardly see it because this is white background, but it does have the bubble background behind it, and the daisies, and these deckled framelits. Beautiful, beautiful addition to your cards. This is done on one of the cards and envelope sets that come in all of the new in colors, and it's done with that bird punch and the bright colors, just so bright. So those are cards I did at a class. This one came from Gail as a thank you, and she has taken the Wild Woods paper and run it through an embossing folder. I don't know if you can see it, but I can feel it. So another great idea for doing that. This one is from Jessica, one of the swaps that I was in. And I don't know which set this is. I have to look it up because I don't have any with the cat. But isn't it neat how she took "You Fill My Day with Happiness" and just cut the words apart? They were probably a long strip, I'm guessing. Another one done with the bird. And this one is from Donna. And she's used a different background. This background, I'm sure you've seen, it's that diagonal one, die for doing that. So swaps are a great way to get a number of different samples that you might not otherwise get to see. This is one from Cheryl, using that set that I know Karen Yeomans has because I got a card from her a while ago with that on, but isn't that cute? And she has done black embossing on there to make it pop. Excuse me. And last but not least, I want to thank Kathleen. I know you're on here still, I hope, for teaching us how to do this in our Friday Zoom class last week. I used the Starry Sky and the Parakeet Party for my colors, but the way to put that together was just amazing. Kathleen had shared it with us, and we all said, oh, we need to know how to do that. So she was willing to be our teacher last week and taught us how to do that. So thanks, Kathleen. That was great. Okay, just going to check and see. Karen, in my highlight for the weekend will be, just a minute, let me see if I can do something like this. My highlight for the weekend will be participating in the Canadian Demo virtual event on Saturday morning. Yes, I hope to do that too, Karen. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, I am going to go to another screen that I have set up, as long as it's going to work, for the draw for our card for last week, which I should have reminded you what the card was, but I will show it to you when we're done. So I have all of your comments in here. There's 15 people that commented on that particular post last week. I really appreciate everything. I will go back and read everything that's happened tonight. And if you're watching on YouTube, please leave comments as well, and I will check those out. So I'm going to hit the start button, and Kathleen, you are the winner of this card. So I will, okay, let me see if I can figure this out again. Back here to this. This is the card we made last week. For any of you who weren't here, it was a shaker card. And Kathleen, I will get that to you because I do have your address. So thank you very much. And thank you for taking part, everyone. So let me just come back here and say it's been great. I love having you on here with me, keeping your comments going and sharing. And I will look forward to seeing you next week, hopefully, barring anything unforeseen. I will be here then and hope you will be too. Take care now.